Hey Steelers Nation, welcome back to the channel where the grind never stops, just like our Pittsburgh Steelers. While the team is working every single day to improve and bring that next Lombardi trophy back to the Steel City, we're here doing our part to bringing you all the exclusive news, rumors, and behind-the-scenes updates you won't find anywhere else. So before we dive into today's huge double headline, smash that like button right now. Let's push this video out to more members of Steelers Nation and grow this incredible black and gold community together. Alright, today we've got two stories that Steelers fans need to hear. First, a blockbuster trade proposal from CBS Sports, involving a player that could totally reshape our offense, ... And second, new behind the scenes. Details about the Steelers' contract negotiations with TJ Watt, because folks, things are heating up fast. Let's start with the offensive fireworks. So here's the situation. It's June. NFL news is slow. Training camp is still weeks away. But that hasn't stopped the national media from cooking up some juicy trade scenarios. And this week, CBS Sports dropped a proposal that, honestly, feels like something straight out of Madden, the trade suggestion. The Pittsburgh Steelers making a move for Chicago Bears tight end Cole Kmet. You heard that right, with the Bears drafting Colston Loveland in the first round of this year's NFL Draft. CBS speculates that Chicago might start leaning heavily on the rookie and possibly, just possibly, entertain offers for Kmet. Now, let's pause right there. Cole Kmet isn't just some random name. We're talking about a tight end who has logged at least 50 catches for 3 straight seasons from 2021 to 2023 and has been one of the more consistent offensive weapons for Chicago, pairing him with Pat Freiermuth in Pittsburgh. That would give Aaron Rodgers 2 big, athletic, sure-handed targets in the middle of the field. And with the injuries the Steelers have already had at tight end this offseason, it's not hard to see why this idea caught fire online. But here's the cold reality check. Is Chicago really going to let Kmet go, according to reports and everything? Coming out of Chicago, the answer seems to be a firm no side end, at least for now. New Bears head coach Ben Johnson has been very vocal about wanting both Kmet and Loveland to play key roles in the offense this year. Chicago isn't desperate for cap space. They aren't lacking in draft picks. And it honestly doesn't make a ton of football sense for them to move off a proven starter like Kmet right before the season starts. Still, if we're playing the what-if game, could the Steelers circle back on this closer to the trade deadline if Chicago struggles out of the gate? Absolutely. Especially when you consider that Pittsburgh already had conversations this offseason about adding tight ends like Kyle Pitts and Jonnu Smith, and with Donald Parham Jr. tearing his Achilles and undrafted rookie J.J. Galbraith heading into camp banged up. The Steelers' tight end depth chart looks thin behind Freiermuth. So, Steelers Nation, here's the big question for you. If Kmet somehow became available, would you want Pittsburgh to make that move? Let me know in the comments, but hold that thought, because we're just getting started now. Let's flip the script and talk defense, because while the offense has been getting all the headlines lately, there's one story brewing that could have a huge impact on the 2025 season: the TJ Watt contract standoff. If you've been following closely, you already know TJ Watt has been a no-show at OTAs and mandatory minicamp. Why? Simple. He wants a new deal. And honestly, can you blame him? Watt's entering the final year of his contract, and the Steelers waited longer than they probably should have to get this extension done if they had handled this during the 2024 offseason. Watt's deal would likely look a lot cheaper right now, but instead, the front office waited, and now Watt's price tag is tied directly to what's happening across the rest of the NFL. Just look at what's happened this offseason. Max Crosby, Danielle Hunter, and Myles Garrett all cashed in on big-time contracts, and looming over everything is the soon-to-be mega deal for Micah Parsons in Dallas. According to NFL insider Peter Schrager, who appeared on the Pat McAfee show this week, both sides, the Steelers and Watts camp, want to get this deal done before training camp opens. I know both sides are really motivated to get something done here, Schrager said. They don't want to go into training camp and have this thing drag on. The Rodgers domino fell. Deshaun Elliott's a nice signing, but the next big priority is TJ Watt. That urgency is real. But here's where things get tricky. Schrager also mentioned that there's a little bit of a game of chicken happening behind the scenes. Do the Steelers make a strong offer now, risking the chance that Micah Parsons signs a record-breaking deal a week later that makes Watt's contract look outdated? Or does Watt's camp hold out longer, waiting for Parsons to set the new market, then asking Pittsburgh to beat that number? It's a delicate balance, and history tells us that the Steelers typically wait until right before the regular season to wrap up these extensions. Remember, Watt held in during camp back in 2021, staying on the sidelines until just before Week 1, then went out and had the best season of his career. If both sides are truly as motivated as Schrager reports, there's a real chance something gets done before camp, but don't expect Watt to come in cheap. He wants to be paid like the elite edge rusher he is. And honestly, after everything he's done for this team, after all the Defensive Player of the Year caliber seasons, he deserves it. What's more, Watt knows how to stay ready even if he's not physically at camp. He's trusted by the coaching staff to show up in game shape when the time comes, just like he did in 2021. That said, if Hendrickson or Parsons get their deals first, expect Watt's price to climb even higher. So, Steelers fans, do you think Pittsburgh should lock Watt up now before Parsons resets the market? Or should the front office wait and play the patience game? Today, we're talking about a bombshell detail that just came out. And honestly, it makes the controversial George Pickens trade make a lot more sense. According to a new report from Jeremy Fowler, Aaron Rodgers was directly factored into the decision to trade Pickens to the Dallas Cowboys back in May. Yup, you heard that right. Even before Rodgers had officially signed with Pittsburgh, the front office was already making roster moves with him in mind. Let's break it down. So, rewind the clock to early May. Steelers fans were still crossing their fingers about Rodgers. Negotiations were ongoing, rumors were flying, but at that point, nothing was official. However, inside the Steelers' front office, something had become very clear. George Pickens, despite all his raw talent, wasn't going to be a great fit for a veteran like Rodgers. Why? Well, let's be honest, Steelers Nation. Pickens' maturity issues have been well documented. The on-field outbursts, the sideline drama, the cryptic social media posts. And listen, Rodgers is known for being many things, but patient with wide receiver drama? Not really high on that list. Fowler's report says Steelers leadership feared exactly that, a bad chemistry mix. They didn't want to risk a toxic locker room vibe right as they were making a huge investment in Rodgers to lead this team, and here's where it gets even juicier. At the time of the Pickens trade, Pittsburgh wasn't even 100% sure they were going to land Rodgers, but they'd already traded for DK Metcalf earlier in the offseason, so they felt like they had enough firepower at wide receiver to make the move. In hindsight, it makes total sense, and let's not ignore the fact that Pickens himself didn't exactly help his case with some of the comments and social media activity after the trade. Whether intentional or not, he kind of validated the Steelers' concerns. Now, speaking of DK Metcalf, we got a fresh update on him too this week. Reporters asked DK about his role in Arthur Smith's offense end. Let me tell you, the man sounds locked in. He's unique, Metcalf said, talking about Smith. I think he's heavy in the play-pass realm, so I'm just trying to learn all the different terminology on offense. Metcalf admitted he's still learning the language of the new system. But his goal is clear: build chemistry with Smith and, of course, with Aaron Rodgers. I'm still trying to get my feet wet with his terminology, DK said, but by the time training camp hits, we'll be speaking the same language. Steelers fans, if that doesn't get you excited, I don't know what will. We're talking about a guy who made 2 Pro Bowls in Seattle. At 6'4" and 235 pounds, DK is a matchup nightmare for any defense in the NFL. And with Rodgers throwing him the ball, look. The Steelers locked Metcalf up on a 5-year, $150 million contract after the trade. That tells you everything you need to know about how central he's going to be to this offense. But here's the big question now. Who's going to be WR2? That's where things get really interesting. With Pickens gone and no clear-cut second option behind DK, all eyes are now on Calvin Austin III and rookie Roman Wilson. According to early reports from OTAs and mini, Calvin Austin III is absolutely making his case. Steelers wide receivers coach Zach Adzani recently told reporters, quote, "I think that 2 spot is all Calvin's right now." Wow. Austin's been flashing speed, route running, and chemistry with Rodgers in early sessions. The Steelers love his work ethic and his ability to stretch the field, but don't rule out Roman Wilson just yet. The rookie's been catching eyes as well, and with training camp still about a month away, this WR2 battle is far from over. And let's not forget, the Steelers aren't ruling out a free agent signing either. Veterans like Gabe Davis and Keenan Allen are still out there. And with the Steelers now fully committed to winning in Rodgers' short window, don't be surprised if Pittsburgh makes another splash move at receiver before Week 1. So there you have it, two huge storylines that could shape the 2025 Steelers season. A fantasy trade proposal for Cole Kmet that Steelers fans can't stop talking about, and the growing tension and urgency surrounding TJ Watt's contract extension. Now it's your turn. Would you trade for Cole Kmet if the price was right? Should the Steelers pay Watt now or risk waiting? Which move should Pittsburgh prioritize? First, drop your answers in the comments below. And again, if you love this kind of in-depth, fan-focused Steelers coverage, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on those notifications so you never miss a single update from Steelers Nation's most passionate news source. We've got more exclusive videos dropping soon, including OTA recaps, player interviews, and a deep dive on how Aaron Rodgers is already changing the culture inside that locker room. Thanks for watching. Here we go, Steelers.